everybody, and welcome to the Best Friends Club Podcast. I am one of your hosts. My name is Charlotte.
And my name is Fizz.
And we are back after a small hiatus.
An actual hiatus. It's not like indefinite. Yes. We've been gone for a while.
We've just both been very busy and ill.
Ill, like working gals, and also just sick. It happens.
But we're all good now, and we're back and better than ever.
Yes.
And do you know who also is back and better than ever?
Who? Tell us.
Daniel Games.
Daniel Games. They've been back, but they are so back because they've been uploading more than we have. The most back they've ever been.
I feel like attacked by them personally.
100%. Like, I feel like the entire fandom is being attacked generally, but I feel like they're specifically attacking our podcast. Can we talk about the blatant theft of ideas?
Honestly. So I presume that most people listening will have seen them reacting to Pin-Off 1, 2 and 3. And my initial thoughts when they uploaded that was, first, what on earth are they doing? And secondly, how dare they steal mine and Fizz's podcast idea?
Literally, have we not reacted to Pin-Off 1, 2 and 3?
Literally.
I feel like they are gonna upload 4, 5, whatever before us, because we're going in chronological order, the way it's supposed to be, with all of the joint content, not just spin-offs. So they're gonna get to Pin-Off 4 before us, but I have such a need to do it before that. I'm like, no. This is a competition now.
And Dan and Phil are winning.
I don't think they are. It's not fair. They have such an unfair advantage. But it's fine. It's okay. They can be two of us. But the OGs know that
we're the OGs. We did it first.
Yeah.
I suppose technically they did it first because they did react to Pin-Off 1 and giving the people what they want.
Yeah, but
that wasn't a proper one.
Yeah. It's funny that they did it twice. In like a pre-coming out and post-coming out way.
Yeah. I think, I know I say every week, oh, we're not going to do gaming videos, and then I change my mind and we're like, maybe we will do a gaming video. But
it's
I think
really
we're
not fair.
But that doesn't count as a gaming video, so I think we're going to have
to
do that at some point.
Exactly. They really screwed us over with the revival kind of being their new joint content channel.
So
occasionally they're going to put out videos that aren't gaming, and then we will have to cover them because it comes under our terms of what we deem as joint content.
Exactly.
So annoying.
I remember I tweeted as well when they uploaded the Pin-Off reaction video. The whole reason we started this podcast was because they weren't doing anything. Like, they weren't doing joint content, and I wanted to talk about their joint content and provide the fandom with like that discussion. And then Dan and Phil just have come waltzing back in, not a care in the world for little people like us and our little podcasts, and they've said, actually, we're back, your podcast can go and live in the dirt.
It's so rude. And now we have so much to catch up on. We are never it's just not gonna happen. I feel like I would never wish for joint content to go away, but our sakes, I wish they would slow down. Like, give us some space to breathe, please.
So look forward to in a year when we do us reacting to Dan and Phil reacting to Pin-Off.
Just a reacception.
A full reacception.
It's gonna be great, but yes, but you will have to wait for that one because we have so much to cover.
We're only in 2012.
We are.
A whole 10 years still of content, and some of those videos are hours long.
They are suddenly right now. They're not right now, but they will get long.
Yeah.
They're gonna get. Yeah.
So, speaking
But
of 2012 and us making podcast episodes about videos made in 2012, what video are we talking about today, Fizz?
today we are talking about a little video posted on Less Amazing Phil. It's called Terrifying Baby Woman. Or is it Woman Baby? Baby Woman.
Baby Woman. I suppose this could be
Yes.
classed as like the weird cousin of the OG Manchester Diddle.
It would. I would agree with that. He does call it a mini day in the life, but it is like the weird cousin that no one really talks about. Um,
But watching it
but
back,
yes,
I
this.
was
Hmm.
I was loving it. I thought it was really good.
No, it was really good. I also feel like I remembered a lot of it, and I think my brain sort of melded it with the
Yes.
original Day in the Life, even
Hmm.
though they're very clearly different vibes. Like they are very different vibes.
And wildly
Um,
different lengths as well.
yes. Um, but I mean, I kind of felt it. Like I was like, yeah, this is very this is clearly 2012 and Manchester, and just like it's a different Dan and Phil
Yeah. I
than
think
even like.
one of the biggest things that I noticed, and I saw like a couple of people saying in the comments, was this felt sort of more casual than
Mm-hmm.
the original Manchester Day in the Life. I think that original Manchester Day in the Life definitely felt a bit more like performative, and like Phil said in the video, that we wanted to do fun things, so it wasn't just us sat at a computer.
Mm,
And he said, oh, we're going to plan to have some friends over, we're going to do this, we're going to do that to make it interesting. But I think because he just decided to film this sort of on a whim and just like do little bits
right.
there, here and there, it felt a lot more casual. I don't know if you picked up on that vibe.
I would have never brought it up myself. So like I do agree with you right now that it did feel kind of like that because they genuinely like it was such a normal day.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you're so right. Uh, but yeah, so wait, I didn't finish. So this was uploaded
Sorry, oh my god, I
on.
completely interrupted you.
No, you didn't interrupt. We just sort of like went into it. It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't matter that much. But he did upload this in May. Um, I have it as May 12th or May 4th.
May 4th, 2012.
May 4th. I cannot read my own handwriting. That's fine. It's May 4th, 2012.
May the
But this was
4th be with
actually,
you.
but this is actually filmed on April 13th because
What?
they mention in, yeah,
No
they never
way.
mention it, but they did. Yeah. So the way I figured it out, because I'm insane, and it's also not that hard, but I was taking notes, and they said something about Friday the 13th. So I was like, okay, well, it's not May 13th, so it has to be April. And so yeah,
Wow. Oh my god, Fizz the
yeah,
detective.
you're not the only historian
Yeah,
in
you're coming for my
this
title.
podcast. I am. I looked up tweets and stuff this time.
I did
Um,
as well, but I didn't find anything that interesting to talk about in relation to the video. So,
not to the video, but apparently, so uh, when they filmed this, Phil was like a week away from doing his annual family Leicester, Florida trip.
wow.
Uh, yes. So he was sort of like despairing about the fact that he had 3 videos to edit before he went,
The
and
grind
that's
never
crazy to me.
stops.
It literally doesn't. In 2012, he was doing the most. Um,
Look at him now.
but
If
that's
only he could see into the future and see that he'd be doing gaming this and uploading a video every day for 24 days.
every day for 24 days, and he's done this multiple times.
Exactly.
Not maybe not 24 days, but just like daily videos.
What a madman.
Mad lad. Okay, but now we can continue talking about the video. Um, very chill vibes. No planning at all.
Very chill vibes. It felt very domestic. Obviously, it's always going to feel domestic because like, we're seeing them in
Hmm.
their house and in their natural habitat. But I felt like this one just felt extra domestic and chilled. Like they went and got lunch together. went round the shops, went to the cinema.
Yeah,
Just
and
felt
it
very
was very
chill.
much like it felt like an actual like what you would consider a day in the life, like because he started the day out with like getting a haircut and Dan was at home, and then they, like you said, they met for lunch, went for a movie, did some shopping. It was great.
Very wholesome.
Yes, very, very wholesome.
My
But
my
the video.
my
Go on.
first note was about how cute Dan looked in the little beanbag.
Of course it was. Why wouldn't it be?
And my official note was this is so stupid. Now I'm looking back. I literally made this note like an hour ago. The official note I wrote was baby beanbag Dan.
It's so true though. Baby beanbag Dan.
Just a little baby in a beanbag.
It's true. Do you know what my first note was though?
Go on, tell me.
It says I love Phil.
Wow. If anybody needed any more evidence of who we are on this podcast, there you go. That's the trailer. We should pick that bit up and we'll put that as the trailer for the podcast. And I feel like even more on brand, my second note was Phil being annoying is so funny when he's annoying.
I'm gonna look for anything that Okay, this time I have said nothing mean about Dan in my notes.
Wow! Oh my god! Everyone, give Fizz a round of applause.
We'll see where the recording takes us. Maybe there will be something. But so far, actually, I do have something, but it'll come right at the end.
Okay.
I'll tell you about it. Mm.
Yeah, I say Phil being annoying is so funny, but I think that's also something that I would do, like stand in front of the TV when Dan was clearly trying to be a hardcore gamer.
I actually have a sub note because I wrote the commentary that Phil is doing is very Dan and Phil games because he rarely games on Dan and Phil games.
He does. Yeah, you're right.
He's sort of just like there for commentary and to be annoying.
That's a great description of Phil. There for
It's like Dan
commentary
games,
and to be
Phil's
annoying.
there. Yes, I think he enjoys it. I think
I think he enjoys being the spectator and letting Dan do
Yeah.
the because Phil famously, as we've learned so far in Gaming List, is that Phil doesn't know how to WASD. So
Yes, it's true.
Dan is the gamer and Phil is the watcher, the spectator.
The spectator. He's the cheerleader, if you will.
Oh, absolutely.
In the jock, like we can say Dan's the jock, and Phil's the cheerleader.
Dan's
No?
the famous football player, yeah, and then Phil is
Yeah,
his cheerleader girlfriend.
Exactly, in like the nerdiest way possible.
Absolutely.
I love how they find the phrase "epic lightning sneeze" funny. It's not that funny, but I love that they spent like 2 minutes giggling about it.
I think that's just because they're so silly. I thought that's obviously something that they would find funny, unless it was some sort of weird inside joke. It did
Maybe.
remind me actually of the first Dittle though, where someone asked Dan to sneeze on camera because Phil was like, Dan has really loud sneezes. So I wonder if it was maybe like a reference to Dan sneezing.
Oh my god.
Maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Maybe. Could be.
Perhaps.
Second, I'd also like to give a little shout out before we move on to the rest of the video to Cold Beer Hot Women shirt, My Beloved. Another surprise appearance.
Surprise appearance. Did we establish that we like the t-shirt?
We love the t-shirt. The
we
Cold
do.
Beer Hot Woman t-shirt is a friend of the podcast.
It is. It really is. I would love to see if it's still available somewhere or if it's only in like thrift stores. Or
I don't think anyone actually found where it was from, to be honest, like originally.
Whoa.
I think it's still like a mystery to the world. That exact
I'm
one
gonna
anyway.
trust you on that.
I think there
Yeah,
were
I'm gonna trust you on
variations
that.
that exist, but not that exact one.
No, if Fan Outfits has not found it, I think it's lost.
Lost to the trenches. And he's definitely got rid of that as well. There's no way that he still owns that, which is heartbreaking because I think a 2023 down in that top would be iconic.
It would be camp.
It'd be so high camp. He could pull it off.
I think he would. My next one that's like, I mean, I have written about like Rainchester because I think it's a philism that like I find very endearing, that he says things like Rainchester and a sleepy Phil and like don't change his words around.
I like that.
Yeah. Solid.
Going off
my
that.
next one, go ahead.
Going off that, this is sort of the theme of the whole video. But why do they show so many shots of where they live? Like, why did they just film Strangeways Maximum Security Prison? Like, people know where that is. Like, I can Google that and then from that work out where you live. I suppose
that's a landmark.
Literally. And like, I suppose they weren't as huge at this time, but like they were definitely still like sort of gaining that popularity, and haven't done the research at the minute, but I know that they probably definitely went to Summer in the City in 2012 and they would have been like a huge hit. So the fact that they're just like, oh, hey, here's a view from outside my window.
I know. And like in contrast to that, them doing the Roblox video, like coming back to Downfall Games and freaking out that people know what the entire layout of their apartment looks like. And it's like, why do you think that? It's because like it's because you've shown us everything.
Yeah. I mean, they were definitely more careful in London. Like, they didn't show, like, the outside.
For sure.
But...
For sure, yeah.
Just mad. Like, anyone could watch that video and just see, oh, right, okay, they live opposite Strangeways Maximum Security Prison. I could work out what flat blocks are around there. Because we know, like, where they live.
Yeah.
Like, well, like, roughly that they live in a block of flats. That they're at the top. Like, piece it all together.
They're insane. Like, where is your sense of... Like, I would never tell people where I live, and I'm not even famous. Like, I'm not going around giving people my address.
I'm not just going to, like, take a picture of my street name. And post it on Twitter.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, these are guys who met on the internet. And
yeah, that's very
Dan
true.
Dan did, like, take a train up to meet Phil in Manchester. To be fair.
But he did, that's very true.
That's crazy though. It's still quite insane. My next one is about, it's very fun. It's about them at Starbucks and getting their usual macchiatos.
My next note is also about them at Starbucks.
Is it about the song? Because
oh no, it wasn't about the song.
Oh, mine is about stirring, stirring, stirring from above to the cup, which I do. Like I did, or well, not present day, but I used to do that every time I stirred my coffee. I'd be like, stirring, stirring, stirring from above to the cup. It's very catchy. It's one of my favorites from the Dan and Phil album. Yeah.
In fact, speaking of the Dan and Phil album, we're going off on tangents in this episode today, guys. Just bear with us. So,
bear with us.
At this present moment, Dan and Phil last night uploaded It Takes Two. Is that what the game was called? Yeah. And they made, I don't know if you saw my tweet, but I posted a video clip, yes, of, there's a bit in the video where they're jumping on the Roombas, the like Hoover things. And
yes.
They do the little version of the song of the Roomba Fitness. And I was like, how on earth have they still got this like memory in their head from this video that they made over 10 years ago?
I know.
And I don't know if I would have picked up on it as fast if we hadn't been rewatching their old videos. And like we literally watched the Christmas the pancake video like a few months ago.
A few months ago, yeah. You know what's funny? Maybe I haven't got to that part. No, I did get to that part. So I only just watched this video because
it was a long one. It's okay.
Thank you. But I wouldn't have picked up on it even then. I feel like
interesting.
But I think it's like it's one of those things that maybe started in the video and then became a real life thing, or the other way around. It's just like a glimpse into what life must be like living with each other, where they're just sort of like mumbling made up songs at each other, and we only get like like the very, how do you say, like the just like a snippet of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's fun that they've been doing this. Do you think they have a Roomba and that's why it's kind of stuck?
I don't think so. I don't think Roombas are that like popular. I don't know of anybody who owns a Roomba. But I don't know, Dan and Phil have got
Whoa,
millions, so maybe.
that's true. Maybe, and they love like shit like that. I feel like they're just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I want a,
I
I
don't
want a
think they have a
Hoover.
Roomba though. I don't. Are they? Are they like a huge thing where you live or not?
No,
Oh, okay.
I feel like they're an American thing.
Yeah, I feel like definitely more of an American thing.
Yeah,
I know that they
let us know
exist.
if you're like British or anywhere not from America, and if you have Roomba, let us know.
And do you even know what a Roomba is? Like, is it a widespread thing? Who knows?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I've never even seen them in stores or anything, so
No, I've never seen one in real life. I've only seen them on TV. What's that
same. I've seen them
existence?
on the. I know they sound fun. Like doing, like they're just doing the, because I hate vacuuming and like hoovering. So if I had like a little guy just running around doing it for me,
Perfect.
um, perfect.
Anyway, back to Dan and Phil in Starbucks.
Yes. What was your note about it?
First note was Dan looks extra cute when he's sat opposite Phil.
Mm.
A little thing as well I read, so I had a look at the comments after I'd finished watching the video. So many of the comments were about how cute Dan looked in this little bit where Phil is just filming him like stirring his drink, and I was like, I relate to all these people saying that.
Yes.
And then my other note was about when Phil talks about, I'm just going to see you as this Skyrim character now, and like he puts like the little image in front of him and it's a
Mhm.
cat. And I was like, oh my god, Catboy Dan, he's back again.
He's always been
He's
there.
always been there since the very start. Which is that's another thing
It's
that happened since we last recorded. We had those excellent chef's kiss Catboy Dan pictures.
10 on 10. Best. He just outdoes himself with these pictures.
Honestly.
Like, you think it's like he's reached his limit, and then he's like, no, I can take it a step further,
And then he
and you will
does.
love it.
And I
And then he
do
does,
love
and
it.
then it's so like, it's such a shock to the system, and then it's like, wait, actually, like, this slays. I love this.
Honestly, I was on
Yeah.
holiday. I was about to go to sleep. And then he was like,
You're
oh, hey.
always out.
He was like,
You're
hey,
always out.
here's some pictures for you to look at before you go to bed. And I was like, thank you so
Mm.
much for giving me this gift.
Oh my god, honestly. God. Um my sort of next one is a reference to Sexy Friday, which is such a
Yes.
throwback. It's like a Grace Helbig reference.
I wasn't a Grace Helbig watcher, but I know of the reference.
Yes. I was, and I have not thought about Sexy Friday for years. So that was a really nice sort of surprise. Oh, the
Uh,
dolls.
the
Ugh.
creepy doll. So, yeah, some very creepy dolls. It was so weird as well because like, I knew exactly what shops they were in when they were like walking through.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh, they're in Marks and Spencer's. Oh, now they're in Selfridges looking at all the expensive clothes and the creepy baby heads, which were absolutely terrifying.
I had no idea mannequins like that could be in regular stores. Like, was that
Yeah.
like a. I don't get it. That was so scary, actually.
I think it's like a
I
weird,
mean,
like, high fashion designer thing to do something weird, like with your mannequins.
I guess, but it's also. It's just. I don't know. I. Also, like, to be fair, I had no idea what stores they were in. And I wouldn't expect like Marks and Spencer to have that. So I don't think it is a Marks and Spencer.
No, that was,
Um.
I think that they were in Selfridges where they had those.
Oh. Okay. 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 Okay.
So a very high-end department store for the non-UK listeners out there.
Thank you. Thank you for
You're
the
welcome.
thank
You're
you for the
welcome.
knowledge. But it was so funny watching them do the shop and like knowing that their tastes, at least Dan's, I mean, famously Dan has a very expensive
He
taste
does.
in fashion.
Which, again, a lot of the
Uh,
comments in the video were
were
about that. They were like, haha, they say that's so expensive, yet Dan's going to buy a t-shirt twice as expensive as that in like
in the
5
future.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Which is fair, like if you can afford it and if it's something that's to your liking. This is me like completely defending Dan
oh,
when it comes to his choices. You understand, you get it.
I understand. I get so defensive about this, and it's my
Yeah.
tiny little pet peeve that I hate. I know people do it in jest, and I know that they don't mean it seriously, but
Mm.
people are like, oh, why can't Dan just buy cheap clothes? And I'm like, look, I know that the fashion industry is turbulent and that all designers aren't, a lot of high-end designers aren't fantastic or like great
Mm.
for the environment, but he's earned this money. He wants to buy expensive clothes. Let him. It's fine. If I had the
It's
money, I would
fine.
also like to buy more expensive pieces that I know are probably going to last a bit longer.
For sure. And he looks great in them. Like just let him live. I think
And let Phil buy his cheap ASOS t-shirts. It's fine. That's
his
their
top band
decision.
t-shirts. Let him do it.
That's what they decided to do.
Yeah. Also, Phil has been spending a bit of money on
He
clothes recently, I feel
has.
like.
He has, you're right.
And they're very good pieces. Like both of them make very good fashion choices for the most part. And recently, it's been more hits than misses,
I
I would
agree.
say.
Yeah. I just sort of have a note that they go to the cinema. I just enjoyed that they go to the cinema. You can talk about that if you
I
want.
do. Phil did tweet about the movie that they saw, which I did not make a note of. I have no idea what they
Cabin
watched.
in the Woods.
Yes, Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the
Apparently, it was
Woods.
good.
They're little cinema boys. My favourite thing, actually, I really enjoyed that they went to the cinema. Again, I know the cinema that they went to as well. Crazy. That they go, like, there's
Crazy.
the screen where you can book your tickets and feels like, oh my god, it's so futuristic. A screen where I can order things. And I'm like, it's so weird because that's such like a commonplace thing now in
Now,
like
yeah.
cinemas and in like McDonald's and like shops like that and anything really where it's all just,
Yeah.
even in like supermarkets, like self checkout, that you
Self
put the things
checkout,
in the bag
yeah.
yourself. It's crazy.
It's so true, actually. Like, this is like a tangent that has nothing to do with Anfield, but the fact that this was 11 years ago now,
Hmm.
uh, but that kind of stuff was new at the time, but it feels like to me it's been around for so long
Yeah,
that I'm kind of just like, is this weird? I don't understand. But then it's also weird to have lived through that and know a time before we had self checkout and like self service. I
crazy.
don't know. Crazy. I okay, so there is a bit where they point out like a One Direction poster thing, and Phil points out Liam who has curly hair, and then he's like, "Look, Dan, it's you." And I had this moment of like, oh my god, Dan just like probably. I mean, I know they straighten their hair every single day, like they've admitted as such, but Phil had seen like proper curly haired Dan
Yeah,
probably so many times
so
that
many
he was
times.
like this properly like permed hair Liam looks like Dan. And I felt like a pang of jealousy. I was like, I want to see that. I don't think his hair is curly enough right now, even if he's leaving it natural. I
See,
think it should be curlier.
I thought that you were going to bring up that Dan, in his ranking his gay crushes video on his side
Oh,
channel, he brings up that he looks like Liam Payne. And I was like, that's interesting that there is like some sort of history for that, and he hasn't just decided that, oh, I think I look like Liam Payne.
Yeah, no, it came from 2011, 2012.
Crazy.
Liam Payne with, yeah. Uh, Ooh, I have another one. Uh, Phil, okay, this is like kind of connected. They looked at a DVD set for Game of Thrones, which they
Yeah,
hadn't started watching yet. So they're like,
crazy.
I've heard it's good. Crazy. Because we know for a fact that they had like a tradition of watching it together with like their meals and stuff, like with their dinners.
Yeah.
And also, since we now know that they filmed this in April, Phil was like, oh, I might get Dan something as a present. Maybe it was the Game of Thrones, or maybe it was a joke that he was making. But the fact that he was thinking about birthday presents in April when Dan's
No,
birthday is in
he said his
June.
dad. He said his dad, not
Oh, his
Dan.
dad. No. I was about to be like, what a good friend who thinks of birthday presents in
Oh,
advance. Oh man. Okay. Well,
scratch that.
what a good, what a good
Rewind.
son.
What a
He's a
great
good
son.
son. Just like, just imagine me just like crossing out. Great friend.
Which is
Um,
even, I suppose it's even more wild that he was going to get that for his dad, and even he hadn't watched Game of Thrones. And he was like, I've heard it's good. Maybe my dad will like it. Crazy.
mm, Crazy.
What a risky gift.
Uh, it is, and like they're a big like DVD set family, huh? Even
Yeah.
though I think streaming was like starting to be a thing, they're like, no,
Yeah.
box sets. You can tell like he's a '90s kid.
And then they go home. There isn't a whole lot else that happens in the video. They go back home, and then the video ends.
Hmm.
We get a lovely little rave time
I
reprise.
was gonna say, yeah.
Absolutely wonderful, beautiful. And the fact as well, I made note that they'd done rave time like 2 years ago. So obviously, I don't know what the fandom was like at the time. Like, had that become such a fandom thing that people were constantly tweeting it at Dan and Phil, or was it like still just a memory for them at this point?
I think. I mean, does when Dan showed his room, did he make a rave time joke? I don't think so, because I feel like they see flashing lights and they're like, rave time, rave time, rave time, rave time, rave time, rave time.
Yeah.
No, I feel like that became like an inside joke thing
So yeah,
with
so maybe
them,
it was
but
then
it,
because I know it did turn into like a
a
fandom
fandom thing.
thing,
Yes,
but obviously I
for
don't know what
sure.
the fandom was like at this time.
Yeah, we're still not in it, even though we're in 2012.
I'm like, so this uploaded where I'm a month away from discovering Dan and Phil at this point. So Phil's uploaded this,
Whoa.
and little did they know that I was on the horizon, about to have my life ruined.
You were on your way. You were coming. Oh,
So yeah,
what
I
was?
still won't have
Yeah,
a whole lot of insight about the fandom because I didn't properly join till later on. But yeah,
yeah. But for the videos, I think we'll have a lot to say soon about what
yes,
we thought and everything.
definitely like 2013 time.
Yes, for sure. Ah, okay. I mean, so that was kind of the video. At the end, he talks about live shows and doing them
You
on
now,
You Now.
our beloved, bring them back,
Yeah.
please.
Please, can we have live shows back? If we're gonna get Gaming Channel back, can we please get live shows back? Right. They were always like very fun
They
additions
were,
to my day. Yeah.
and it was always like I think we talked about it in the last episodes. Again, it's been so long since we last recorded. I can't remember what we did talk about, but they were always such like a life or death thing as well. I'd be like, I have to cancel all of my plans for Saturday
Yeah.
evening because I must watch Phil on You Now for 1 hour. And like Dan's on Tuesdays, I was like, all plans
Tuesdays,
must be
yeah.
cancelled. I am dead to the world from 9 p.m. onwards.
Were they always on Saturday though? Because Phil does say
Or
like, oh, live
Sundays.
shows. It was always he did them on the weekends, and Dan was like, "Fuck you guys, it's gonna be Tuesday night."
Yeah. I think Phil
Just
did
because.
Saturdays for a while. And then I know he did some on Sundays. I'm like, I think
Hmm.
must have been before the radio show. And then
Yeah,
he did
because radio shows are
Thursdays, and then Dan always did Tuesday.
Tuesdays. Yeah.
But it was
Um,
such like a life or death thing. I was like, I have to be at home. I have to listen to
same,
this live show. And I was
same.
heartbroken, like, if I missed it, because it was always so much sort of effort to go back and rewatch it than like watch
Like
it
the whole
live.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole like hours worth of stuff. Like you could always watch highlights, but then it's like, what if you missed a significant movement
Yeah.
that they did
And like you
and no
had to
one
watch
recorded
them.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you had to watch them so you could join in like with the discussions and feel
exactly.
a part of it.
Hmm.
And
Whoa.
they still have this grip on me now. Like every single thing that they do is a life or death. Oh my god, if I'm not at home when they're doing this or when they're uploading that, my life is over. And I hate it.
I hate it too. I think it's weird that this has kind of stuck with us because it sounds like such a new fan thing. Like when
Yeah.
you're a new fan, I feel like you are very invested and you're kind of just like on it. Like post notifications are on everything. Um but to be this way again, like after 11 years, and we're still kind of just like, we
Like
must be
what drugs are
aware.
in these videos? Like what are they putting in the water that I'm drinking that is making me act this way?
I know. It's so not normal.
And it's like I've tried so hard to like I've had other interests and I was huge into other interests before Dan and Phil sort of came back and had their resurgence.
Hmm.
But it wasn't like this intense, and I don't. But again, I think it's those things that if you form an interest in something when you're like 16, like your brain is still developing, so
Hmm.
you're gonna cling on to these things.
True. And also I think the internet also sort of contributes to that because all of the like the community that you are a part of is still there to
Yeah,
like a certain extent, right? Like even if you guys have moved on, it's like, oh, you're suddenly logging back on. You know what's funny? And I think I've talked about this on the podcast, but when the gaming channel came back, my K-pop timeline blew up.
yes,
And I was
yeah,
like, where did all these fannies come from? What do you mean? We've been on the same internet for years and like had no idea. And right now, everyone, and so now that Gaming Miss is happening, we're all watching these videos together. And I'm like, oh my God. Like,
crazy.
we're having the same experience. Also, a lot of them are Danny's, which is very funny because Dan is also like, or was a K-pop fan, and it's just like,
The pipeline,
it's very.
the Danny to K-pop pipeline.
I wanted to lightly bully Dan for
Okay, we
wearing
will.
a jump a
I will allow
jumper.
you to lightly bully Dan. Okay,
It's just
go
it's
ahead,
very.
Fizz.
I think he looked very cute in his jumper, but it is
Mm-hmm.
May, and it looked very festive adjacent.
It
You know
was
what I mean,
definitely a very Christmassy jumper.
right?
So
Um. So I think I mean, out of 10, I'm gonna give him like. Actually, I was being very mean. I was gonna give him a 2 and like rip him a new one, but he
whoa.
looked very cute. He looked very cute in hindsight. So I will not be giving him a score. I will just say that I find it very funny that he wore what could have been a Christmas jumper in May. A jumper at all in May.
Maybe it was cold, a bit chilly. The
That's
spring
true. It was raining and
weather.
stuff, right?
Exactly.
Hmm. Okay, so I retract my.
You retract your review, and Phil wasn't really wearing anything of note for me to review in this video.
Yes, I did write. I did write. Not memorable next to Phil's name.
Wow, what a mood. That's how I feel
Hey!
about Phil.
Hey! No, it's just that Phil has very like some of his clothes are very very iconic, and this one just wasn't.
No.
I cannot remember if it was a hoodie
I'll be honest,
or
we
a
didn't even
t-shirt.
see it. He didn't even show us what he was wearing. So how am I supposed to know?
It's true. Yeah. Yeah. So it's Phil's
Right.
fault.
Phil's fault. Final wrap up. Fizz. How many terrifying baby woman heads out of 10 would you rate this video?
God, I don't even know. It was enjoyable. So like maybe a 7? Like it wasn't like it's not Hall of Fame for me, but it
Yeah.
was. Yeah. What about you? How
I was going
many
to go with like a
terrifying
6 or a
baby
7.
women?
6 or
7?
7
Yeah.
terrifying baby women
Women?
out of 10. Women's.
Great. But yeah, so that was the video. That's it.
That was
It
the
wasn't
video.
that long. It was a fun time. Please
And we had
watch
some nice
it.
chats as well around it.
Yes. I had fun catching up after weeks of not talking.
After weeks of not talking. We have still been talking. We haven't not spoken
Yes.
at all.
Yeah.
We just haven't spoken in person like this. So hopefully we are going to have one more episode for you before Christmas, and then we're going to take another small break over Christmas time, and we will be back in January with an official Series 2. And we're not in Manchester anymore, Fizz. We're not going to be in Manchester anymore.
We are moving to the big city. To the big smoke.
The big smoke.
We're going to London.
We're going to London.
But I mean, we have one more episode before that.
One more episode before that. If you haven't already, go back and listen to our Christmas episodes. We've already talked about the tree, which was episode... I'm going to go back and have a little look. And I'm going to let everybody know.
You just decided to start the sentence and you were like, oh no.
Episode 5, we talked about the tree, classic rave time memories. And the other week we also uploaded how to make Christmas cookies. That is episode 15. So if you haven't already, go back and listen to those to get yourself in the festive Christmas spirit. And we will see you next time for our final episode of officially Series 1. That's what we're calling this.
Yes. And it's gonna be, I think it's the most fun game ever, the best game ever, one of those. It's
the
it's
game.
Not like
the word title is in the game. The word title is in the game. The
word title is
the word game is in the title. Should I say?
Yes, and it's gonna be the last Manchester video, and
we will have
a good one.
Shed a little tear for the Manchester memories we've made along the way.
Yes. All right. Well, Thank you all for listening.
Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
We'll see you next time. Bye.